Well, we're so excited this morning to bring another highlight to you. There's going to be actually a army of people asking questions before we hand it off to Sheila to moderate the IPA call today. But we're going to first start with Kimberly, and then she's going to be bringing up Whitney. If you want to, we can go ahead and bring up Barbara and Rachel and Susan, and they'll all ask questions on the how-to. But Kimberly, you're flying in our company. You were just at the Susan Cameron Boot Camp in Virginia, and I learned there that you had a girl named Whitney that joined you, and basically just on retail sales and new volume bonus has made over 40,000 with us, and she only joined in May. And we want to know how she did it. But the first thing we want to start with, we want to know how you got to her. Like, how did you build the friendship? How did all this occur? And I'm gonna turn my camera off, Sarah. You can pull me down, and Steph and Barb and Susan, y'all pull the rest out of everybody. We can't wait to hear it.
Hey, good morning. Thanks so much for having me. Yeah, Whitney and I knew each other on another platform. We didn't know each other well. And when I came in January, I started kind of visualizing who I wanted to be on my team, what type of leaders, and what kind of I wanted, what I was attracted to. And Whitney was definitely someone I thought about. And I just started reaching out to her, and connecting with her on Facebook. And we just found that we made each other laugh. We had qualities in each other that that kind of brought us to each other. And we also, had a lot of different connections in life, not just the business. And she had a few different people that she, knew in Partner Co. And Barb, Rachel, and I ultimately strategized and kind of found a way to figure out how we could, you know, take our time, but recruit her. And so that ended up happening. So I'm just so proud of her, and I'm in awe of her. I just love her. And right now we're working on getting all those customers that she has sold drops to converted to brand partners. So that is what we're working on now.
And that's phenomenal, Kimberly. I mean, right out of the gate in January, when I first met you, you took a leap in faith and you haven't stopped putting the pedal to the metal. Let me tell you, my friend, you have really expanded my brain because of the multiple questions that you have asked every single day. And I love that because at almost 68 years old, you're expanding me and aging me backwards, not aging me forward, aging me backwards, just because you're so much your vitality and your enthusiasm and your love for what you do and the connection that we have, Barb. And thank you so much. I'm very, very grateful for you trusting in the path in the company and in leadership, and you just connect the dots, so you are able to get the person, whether it's Whitney or anybody else, in front of the right person, whether it's Stephanie, right, to speak life into them and to help them grow or convert in as from a customer. But I would love to know a little bit more about how you coach Whitney, because she was very successful as a top number one sales person in another platform that we were both in. And I want to know how she transferred that into Partner Co.
Well, that's a great question. Whitney was very coachable and teachable, and Whitney and I just are constantly talking all day long. We are working aligned with each other. Um, you know, we're talking in the morning, we're talking all day, and she is starting three ways, and she's doing it. Just like I did with you, Barb. Just getting them on a three-way call and or just a text thread is how we're doing it. And I'm just having so much fun, the time of my life doing it, and I know it's just the beginning, so I'm just so grateful for Partner Co. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. But yeah, we're constantly talking all day long.
I do have a
And
question,
yes.
Whitney. Whenever I hear that someone has a strategy or outcome or results that work, my first question is, how do they do it? How do they do it? So if you could share the anatomy of what has brought in that kind of revenue and support for people, and then how the heck you are following, what is your system as you track these beautiful people with this massive outcome?
Ooh, loaded question.
I know, I'm sorry.
So I pretty much came in this, I was in the other company for 6 years. Loved it, loved the business, incredible business. But the main thing that I know that's worked for me from the get-go is authenticity and just being, creating relationships, being a friend. One thing that so many people in this business that I have noticed do too much, and that's talk, and they don't listen. And when people are coming to you with, pretty major health issues, they want to be heard. They want to know what you know or how you can help, but they want to tell their story. They want to be heard. And I think I've always been a pretty good friend. So I've always been a good listener, and I'm pretty good at directing people where they need to go when it comes to the products. I don't pretend to know everything. I'm not a scientist. I'm not Todd. I don't have that nutrition background, but I started to deep dive into my own health a number of years ago. I'm a cancer survivor, and woo, sorry, it threw me into a different place in my life. Sorry, I didn't think I was going to do this. But it created a need and a want for me and my family to have better health. And I was going to do whatever it took to get there. And so I carry that passion and that love for that. And I try to give that to other people. Sorry.
I think
And
one
then
thing about Whitney too is that she is direct but loving. So she comes across in a way like she's, tells her customers, listen, you need to, follow the food plan. You also need to drink lots of water, and you need to commit to at least 90 days. So, and she's direct but firm because she really believes in the products.
So my question is, knowing that people need to commit for the 90 days, you're still selling retail versus then signing them up, giving them the 4-pack.
I am. I've always been more comfortable with that. I know I need to get out of my comfort zone. But I do what works for me. And I've always done really well with the sales end of it because I think of those connections. And Kimberly's right. I'm very direct. I try to do it in a gentle way, but in a firm way. I grew up as a Navy brat. My dad was always very firm, but he got his point across in a gentle way. And, most of the time when I'm talking to customers, I'm letting them know that, you're in trying these drops and trying these products and going for it and actually making a commitment, to do this. You're not only making a commitment to me and as a customer, but you're making a commitment to yourself. Let's do this. Let me help you. Let me show you how to do this. A lot of people will buy it wanting the quick fix. We're a instant gratification nation, unfortunately, but it takes a lot of years to get yourself in an unhealthy place, and it doesn't fix itself overnight. And you have to remind people because they want that quick fix, and that's just not the way it works. So, that's kind of my process. And then the follow up with them. I use messages a lot. That's where most of my business comes from. I've never been in a company where all the business just comes to you. It's crazy. But I do exactly what Kimberly taught me to do. I follow the system of growth. I don't know all the different angles of it. I know the most important thing that works for me is getting on this call every day. I never even thought it was a big deal until my business was growing. And then I decided, my gosh, this reminds me of, and some of you are old enough to remember that romper room, the magic mirror. I see Sally and I see Todd. But it's nice because we have a community here, and it's so different from what I was used to before. It's just so neat to me because I feel like I know everybody, even though I don't put my face on here all the time. I see your faces every morning, and there's a comfort to that, there's a security to that. And I came from a company where, even though I was very successful, I was #1 on the very first year of their business. I always felt like that, that Carby instead of Barbie, Carby. They were always size 2 and 30 years old and would memorize everything. And that's just not me. I'm 62 years old, and I was not a size 2, and I had a lot of flaws. And I just feel like, I look around in our company, I'm like, these are my people. This is awesome. So it's a really comforting thing. And I think I try to, put that out there with my customers too, as much as I can. So they understand that, we're coming from a real place here. We're not playing. We want to help you with your health.
I got one comment, one question, and then for both of you. The comment is, number one, you said one of the most important things, and that is listening. Like some people are always looking for the magic thing to say, when oftentimes the magic is paying attention to what you're being told and responding accordingly with not too many words. But the other comment was, we did a personality test at Susan's boot camp. Everybody took it. They paid $58. There's 34 different personalities. We identified different things, and I didn't need a personality test to know this. I knew it already. And that is, people that sell really good on social media, they're generally not the best builders, and vice versa. The best builders aren't always the best sellers. And that's the reason we all work together as a team and use each other's skill sets. So that's the comment. Here's the question for both of you. Number one, for you, Kimberly, you identified in that personality test that one of your weaknesses may be dealing with personal rejection, not helping other people, but your own people. So you put Susan Cameron on 2 3-way calls while you're there, and she closed 2 30-packs in for you on customers. I watched that happen right in front of my eyes. But the same now, you and Barb and everybody in Whitney's upline, y'all are all there now to start doing those 3-way calls to help her convert. So the question for you when I get done is, can you talk about that? How do you put Susan on that call and why? And then for Whitney, the last question I have for you, I want you to go in depth on this, and then we'll turn it over to Sheila. I want to know what you're doing different than everybody else. Are you posting twice a day? Are you adding in lives? Are you just on Messenger nonstop? Like, give us some of your inside nuggets that allowed you to sell 10 30-packs in 2 months.
Oh, I
You
wish
want me to go first? Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, I'll go first. Thank you, Todd. Yes, the retreat was amazing. But before I went to the retreat, I had already been planning, because I knew that I was going to be in front of Susan Cameron, Susan Frank, and Todd Rowland. So I said, okay, I'm going to utilize this. And I had set up 4 Zoom, 4 calls. And I was like telling Susan later, by the way, you're doing these. As a matter of fact, I got there at the retreat 2 hours early, just to get some time with her alone. And I had a call scheduled for 4 p.m. And these were the 2 ultimates that we enrolled. And then we ended up enrolling, Steph Peffer and I ended up enrolling the 3rd one on Monday. But the 2 that I enrolled with Susan were both droppers that were doing really well. And I converted them, like Todd says, to do early on. And that really, I think, was the key. They were excited. And they got converted early on. So yeah, so just getting them in front of somebody, because I have my Clifton Strengths right here. Everybody, you should definitely take this.
Kimberly,
One of my
what did you tell the accountant to get him on the phone with Susan? Like, what did you say to make the 3-way happen?
I just asked her if she had 15 minutes, and I wanted if she was open to making some income. I kept it very simple. She's on here right now, Jamie. I saw her on here. Yeah, I just
Oh,
kept it,
Jamie, welcome.
and then that was it. And then we set the time, and that was it. So what Todd was saying about the woo, about my strengths, one of them is woo, winning other people over. I do have that, but the negative to that is that sometimes my feelings can get hurt if I'm trying to enroll my own personal friend or dropper. So I can do it for my brand partners, but closing the to the one. So knowing our strengths, right? And that's where Susan came in. Hey, Susan.
Hi, and Whitney, we can do that for you and just literally set mini goals for you. Just, okay, we're going to do 3 appointments in the next 3 days. Who's 3 people we can talk to? And keep it that simple. I need 15 minutes of your time to talk about how you're going to get more of these amazing drops. And that's it. And then we'll help you.
Thank you.
Sign them up, sign them up, sign them up.
So Whitney, I think Todd was asking how you've done it, like the posting and what you've done. And I know food is one of your big ones that you do, your cooking and all your
Yeah, that's true. But that was going on way before. Like I said, I've been in that, that mind space and deep dive into health and reading a lot and researching a lot. When you're faced with scary things in your health, you want to try to prevent as much as you can from that happening again. And, your parents are getting older and stuff. So all of these things. Anyway, I've always I don't know why I'm a foodie, but I've always posted beautiful food. I love to cook. I love to arrange things and make them pretty. And maybe I was a chef in another life, I don't know. But I try to eat healthy and I try to show people that it's really not that hard. You know, you don't have to make it pretty, you know, try more than a paper plate, but the food is what's important, you know, what you're fueling your body with. And I have pretty much within reason when I've been good over my yo-yo life of dieting. I followed a pretty paleo plan, which is going back to the basics, you know, that we're all supposed to be eating like that, you know. And so I try to show a lot of that in my pictures. And when I find something that's really interesting to read or a documentary I've seen about health or food or whatever, I always want to share that because you never know who's watching. You know, there's somebody out there that needs to hear it or needs to see it. And I've had comments from people, which is fun, you know. I'll get a random comment from somebody I haven't seen since, you know, one of my new brand partners, you know, I haven't seen her in 40 years. And she said, please tell me about this. My gosh, I've been watching you and tell me what this is. And so I really think it is just putting yourself out there. I like to call it a drip campaign, you know, for every, you know, one or two business posts that I do, whether it's and I don't talk about the business enough, but I do talk about the drops a lot. And that's where my focus is, obviously. So for every one of those, I probably put out 4 or 5 personal posts that will do something else. I raise butterflies. I mean, that can catch somebody's attention, you know, and my dog catches attention and my food catches attention. So I do follow that. I make it personal, but I also dribble in a little bit of my business posts. And I think the Boards app is amazing. I don't use it for everything, but being able to pull those transformations and testimonials off of there and showing people that it is possible, that they're real people, and then showing my own from time to time. I have that pinned at the top of my Facebook page. But, you know, when we go on vacation, now I'm not scared to get my picture taken in a bathing suit and I'll share it. You know, before I never would. But these drops have been so great for me personally, and people have seen my journey, and I think that's a lot of it. And I think they've gotten a certain amount of trust over the years because of the way I've gone through my health issues and the way I've shared and been very open and authentic about my struggles. So I think there's a lot to be said about that.
And
I have a question, Whitney. Kimberly was talking about converting early on. I hear 300 boxes. I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, you have such a golden opportunity to convert these people like now. So Susan, you could load Susan Cameron's, whoever, Barb, and get these people closed, even if it was 10% of that population. Is there like a game plan to do that? Because everyone is thinking about this system of growth, right? Early conversions.
Right. Kimberly and I talk about that a lot. That has not been my strength. She is wonderful. She, you know, I'm so blessed and so glad that I chose her. You know, she chose me, but I chose her. And she helps me because where I am weak, she is strong. And sometimes I don't like to be pushed because I am a little bullheaded, but she does when it needs to be done, and I take it in the right way. And if I'm if I'm smart, I listen to her and we try to implement some of that. And I'm planning on it. And Susan Cameron's been pushing me a little bit. And I need to come up with the wording that is comfortable for me, that sounds like me, that is authentic, that I can reach out to these people and say, this is, you know, I'd like to have 15 minutes of your time, you know, like we were talking about. So yeah, that's in the future. That is the near future. That is in the plan. I'd like to be able to get a little bit better at that. I don't like having weaknesses like that. I mean, we all have our strengths and weaknesses, but I know that my business could flourish a lot more if I leaned on other people a little bit more.
I think it's
And
just
what
a
I,
leap of faith.
Hmm.
Sorry, Barb, go.
What I want to add to that, or add insight to that, is all those 300 customers, they probably are wanting something more, just like Randy and I, right? We wanted more financially, we wanted more for our lifestyle. And even though our health transformed immeasurably and we're aging backwards, our financial health is robust and abundant, and we could cry every day with the blessings that because we don't live in stress anymore, stress of, paycheck to paycheck. So think about that as you're converting or asking them, to join you to share with others, because then you're expanding your territory, they're expanding into their friends and family, and I'm sure everybody really could use that extra amount coming in. So it would be a blessing to them to see the business part of it, or invite them to see the business aspect. So it's, if you go from a blessing, you can offer it as that.
And she's been doing better. She's been opening up to that. We've done a couple this week, and so yeah. So I'm gonna keep.
Go, Whitney, go. It's just a tiny tweak. Just a tiny, tiny tweak, girl. You
Yeah.
got this.
We're gonna load Susan Cameron up.
I'll
One of
help.
the
I love it.
things that I got to tell you guys, that in the very beginning, I had multiple people asking me to join them in this company. And I had known them from one of my previous companies. And, they're all friends. And that's a hard place to be. I mean, who do you choose? What do you do? Who would be best for you? And really, when it came down, I mean, I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, of course. And so when it came down to it, I started thinking about, like, what's going to make the difference? What's going to make the difference? And I thought back about when I went to pick out a new kitten. And my daddy always said, when you're looking for a new pet, a new kitten, because for me, it was always cats when I was little. When you're looking for a new kitten, you want to connect with them. You want to feel love from them. You want to be able to know that they're feeling love from you, and you've got a connection. And he said, pick the one that wants out of the box the most. And that's Kimberly. And I was like, that's it. That's it. She wants this more than anybody else. She was more enthusiastic. She was more supportive. She reached out to me the most. She made it sound like something that I could do. It was duplicatable. I wasn't even sure I wanted to get back into another business. I don't need to. I love being retired, but it was her relationship with me and that connection that we had that made me say yes.
That is so sweet. Thank you so much. I'm so blessed to have you as a sister, and I call her my big sister. But we work together so closely. She's not afraid of bothering me. When people say they feel like they're going to bother you, we don't want that. We want people to be able to just, no, let's go, because I'm ready to roll. I don't care what time it is. I'm ready. So I love you, Whitney.
I love you too.
And all of you. This has just been incredible. And then we're just getting started. So, I mean, how amazing is that, right?
I know.
Thanks for making me cry.
I'm sorry, I have to jump in just because this was such a special IPA. Literally, as leaders sitting here listening to you guys, I felt like I was inside of Team Unstoppable's coaching session, and like what you guys do so amazingly that some of us maybe don't have. I sat there and watched it. I listened to Whitney's success. I listened to Steph and Susan and Kimberly and Barb all chime in, all pour life into everybody. It was just phenomenal, guys. And I appreciate that so much because it really taught me a lot today. I was blown away. I feel like I know some of y'all's secrets now.
Goosebumps, Reese. I got goosebumps. Thank you.